Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm getting ready to go back to Bellingham to work on the boat again, and hopefully we get the pivot pin taken out of the centerboard and I can show you my plan for being able to sand that down. I'll save that until later because it's an interesting idea I have and I'm not sure if it'll work, but yeah, we'll get there. So right now I have a bunch of these chip brushes. They're the really inexpensive brushes that you can find at any home improvement store. I have a lot of angles and corners and small areas to paint inside of the boat, and it's hard to do that with a roller. The right way to put the epoxy on is to do it with a small roller, but it just won't get into the areas where I need to. And using paint brushes, the bristles typically come loose out of these cheap brushes, and even the expensive ones, they come loose. And epoxy is thick, it's hard to paint on, and these brushes are pretty flexible, so that's not great. So I'm going to do two things to fix that. First, I've got some glue here. I'm just going to put some glue along the bottom of the brushes to glue the bristles to the handle and make sure that none of the bristles come out of the handle into the paint. If that happens, it'll cause a kind of place where the bristle might break down and leave a void, or it might wick moisture through the epoxy all the way down to the metal, in which case you get rust. In either case, you get rust. So keeping these bristles glued to the handle and out of your paint is essential. And then the other thing, I'm going to cut about a third of the bristle length off of here to stiffen this up a bit so that it's easier to work the epoxy and it won't be so flimsy, so flexible. So I'm gonna get busy doing that, and I'm gonna pack up my bags and head off to Bellingham, and I'll see you there. Hey guys, I'm back on board the boat now, and it's a gorgeous day here. And before I get started, I just wanted to say a big thank you to SV Rusty Junk for sending most of you over to the channel. Yeah, I mean, it was pretty incredible to watch subscribers come from 40 or so up to over 1,600 in about 4 days. So yeah, big thank you to SV Rusty Junk. If you haven't seen his channel, link in the description below, and yeah, go check that out. Today I'm going to try and get some of this paint off of the deck, and that's probably all I'll get to today. I mean, it's middle of the day Sunday, I literally just got off the plane, so yeah, I think I'll take it a little bit easy today, but it's a great day for it, so let's get started. Alright, so I've been at it maybe 3 hours now, and the tool is incredible. I've got about a third of the boat done. This section has not been done. It's white and textured and still has lots of crumbly places that just peel up. But this is the tool. So it's a big aluminum disc in the center, and on the edges it has carbide cutting stars. Now, in true Luke fashion, this was not made to be used this way, of course. Let me make sure it's focused for you. Yeah, so the center of an American grinder is a 5/8 inch screw, and this, when I bought it, was 11 millimeter. So if you're in the US, you'll need to do some work. It is aluminum though, so it's easy to tap. You can see there's a problem though. I'm missing a star here, and most of the stars have a lot of missing teeth already. And I'm not really surprised about that. Get you refocused. There we go. Yeah, I'm not really surprised about the broken teeth because they're carbide steel. It's very, very hard steel, but it's very brittle. So when it's chewing up the floor material, it's fine. It eats this away like crazy. Like, you can't believe. It's the perfect tool for it. But if it hits a hard edge of steel, like a screw head or a bolt or anything like that, even a slight lip of steel, the carbide teeth don't like that. So yeah, they do sell the teeth in packages, so I'm just gonna order a couple of sets of those and I'll be able to blaze through this. This is still usable for a little while, although with the one missing star, it vibrates a lot, so my hands are gonna get kinda tired from that. But let me show you how good it does. And when I say how good it does, you'll have to kind of take my word for it because I haven't vacuumed over here. So, get focused here. Yeah, so you can see underneath there, we've got some fairing compound, the red stuff. We got a little bit of the textured white stuff left over, but those are in low spots, and I'm gonna re-fair this. So I figured, you know, with the low spots there, why not just leave it? It's stuck down very well, so I don't have to worry about it not adhering, and I can see the areas where there's rust. I mean, right underneath me there's a lot of rust here. And over by that window where the plywood board is, there's a lot of rust. So I can see where the rust is and where it's not easy enough. Yeah, so I'll just fair over top of those little patches of texture. They're pretty smooth right now. They're not very textured. So I think that's gonna work great. So yeah, I'm excited about this tool. I need to get some more cutting heads, but you know, 3 hours and I'm a third of the way done with the deck already, so this is perfect. So I gave up on the deck sanding for a little bit because the teeth on the Scarifier tool are pretty broken up and the stores weren't open, so I couldn't go and buy a diamond concrete grinding disc. I'm going to try that next. I think it'll probably do pretty well. But in the meantime, I'm trying to get the centerboard pin out, so I've had some success. Let me show you. So this pin was fully flush to the side of the boat. And you can see now that there's just like a tiny sliver poking out. So I've got this chunk of metal that goes down to this I-beam underneath, which goes across, and you jump over to the other side. It's gonna be loud over here because of generators. So here on the other side of the boat, we've got a bottle jack pushing against this frame that I welded up. So the bottle jack is a 20-ton jack, and I mean, it's pushing, but this metal piece flexes a little bit too. Oh, that's pretty hard. So I'm gonna crank on this, and up above I rigged up 2 ropes that go up through the deck. So let's go up and check on those. All right, so here we are inside the boat. This is the centerboard box. I cut out the pocket here where the winch used to be because it had a floor in it. And my plan is to remove the centerboard by using these 2 chain hoists. And that means I'm going to lift it up into the inside of the boat. So I welded on a support beam here so that my lifting cradle on the deck has some extra weight support underneath. Alright, well, it's the end of the day. The pin didn't budge anymore, and I couldn't build a frame that was strong enough to support the jack. And I'm not super surprised with that. Yeah, I mean, I could have engineered something that eventually would have gotten it done, but yeah, I don't think it's worth my time. If it won't come out and I can't find anyone to get it out, then I guess it'll stay in there and I'll just paint whatever part of the centerboard I can get to. And yeah, we'll have to call it good at that, you know? Do what I can do, and then eventually find someone that can. Alright, so a couple people have commented that I jump around a lot from project to project, and that's true. I travel quite a ways to get to the boat, and it's expensive, so I can't afford to waste any time. And on a day like today, where it's just pouring rain outside, I can't keep the inside of the boat dry yet, and I can't keep the outside of the boat dry because I don't have enough money to build an entire structure around this. And it's windy enough here that tarps over the top of the boat don't stay in place. They get shredded, and unless they're like tight fit up to the hull, you know, and then you can't work on the boat because they're too tight against the hull. So that's why I'm jumping around from project to project, and I have to do what I have to do, and I can't afford to waste time here. So I was going to paint underneath the engine area today, but the rain is dripping in there. So I have it all sanded down, and I was in the process of cleaning it last night, and I checked the forecast, and yeah, this was forecast. So that's how it is. So instead, I am going to weld in the section of the centerboard box that I cut out where the winch was. So I've already got it ground down. I put some bevels on the edges. I'm just gonna weld that section into place, and then I'll come up with a plate to cover that open side where the winch came out. So I don't have a dry place to put the camera, so you'll just have to. Alright, well, it's taken me about 20 minutes. That side's not so beautiful over there, but man, we got some good results on the welds here. Horizontal and vertical up welding are not the easiest thing in the world to do, so I'm very happy with myself right now. Stops and starts aren't all that great yet, but yeah, those are some pretty welds, so I'm happy with that. The welding on the outside of the box is done, and I'm no pro, but see, I did all right. Sorry I didn't set up the camera to film any of the welding. It's just really hard to get the angles right here, and with all the water dripping around, I didn't want to risk my camera getting wet and damaged. Because if the camera dies, you guys get nothing. It's my only camera. So sometimes things don't go as you expect. Your plans have to change, and that's what happens routinely here. The weather changes, my availability of parts and tools changes, my ideas for how to get things done change. So yeah, when you see me jumping around from project to project, there's a good reason for it, for me anyway. Maybe you would do things different, and you know, that's the beauty of life, is we all get to choose how we want to do things, and there are thousands of ways to do things that get you to a successful result. So yeah, I think I'm going to call it quits for this episode. I hope you enjoy watching parts of what I'm doing, at least, and you're still here watching, subscribing, so a lot of you are. So thanks for the nice comments, and yeah, I'll see you next time.